Back in the cave, the big friendly giant sat Sophie down once again on the enormous table.
"Is you quite snugly there in your nightie?"
he asked.
"You isn't fridgy cold?"
I'm fine, Sophie said.
"I cannot help thinking,"
said the BFG,
"about your poor mother and father. By now they must be jipping and scumping all over the house shouting, 'Hello, hello, where's Sophie gone?'"
I don't have a mother and father, Sophie said. They both died when I was a baby. Oh, you poor little scrumpet, cried the BFG. Is you not missing them very badly? Not really, Sophie said, because I never knew them. It was making me sad, the BFG said, rubbing his eyes. Don't be sad, Sophie said. No one is going to be worrying too much about me. That place you took me from was the village orphanage. Real orphans in there. You is an orphan? Yes. How many is there in there? 10 of us, Sophie said. All little girls. Was you happy there? The BFG asked. I hated it, Sophie said. The woman who ran it was called Miss Clonkers, and if she caught you breaking any of the rules, like getting out of bed at night or not folding up your clothes, you got punished. How is you getting punished? She locked us in the dark cellar for a night, and a night without anything to eat or drink. The rotten old rot strapper, cried the BFG. It was horrid, Sophie said. We used to dread it. There were rats down there. We could hear them creeping about. The filthy old frizzwiggler, shouted the BFG. That is the horridest thing I is hearing for years. It was making me sadder than ever. All at once, a huge tear that would have filled a bucket rolled down one of the BFG's cheeks and fell with a splash on the floor. It made quite a puddle. Sophie watched with astonishment. What a strange and moody creature this is, she thought. One moment he is telling me my head is full of squished flies, and the next moment his heart is melting for me because Miss Clonkers locks us in the cellar. The thing that worries me, Sophie said, is having to stay in that dreadful place for the rest of my life. The orphanage was pretty awful. I wouldn't have been there forever, would I? All is my fault. I is the one who kid-snatched you. Yet another enormous tear welled from his eyes and splashed onto the floor. Now I come to think of it, I won't actually be here all that long, Sophie said. I was afraid you will, the BFG said. No, I won't, Sophie said. Those brutes out there, bound to catch me sooner or later and have me for tea. I is never letting that happen, the BFG said. For a moment the cave was silent. Then Sophie said, May I ask you a question? The BFG wiped the tears from his eyes with the back of his hand and gave Sophie a long, thoughtful stare. Shoot away, he said. Would you please tell me what you were doing in our village last night? Why were you poking that long trumpet thing into the Gucci children's bedroom and then blowing through it? Aha! cried the BFG. Now he is getting nosier than a Parker. And that suitcase you were carrying, Sophie said. What on earth was that all about? The BFG stared suspiciously at the small girl sitting cross-legged on the table. You is asking me to tell you whoopsie big secrets, he said. Secrets that nobody is ever hearing before. I won't tell a soul, Sophie said. I swear it. How could I anyway? I'm stuck here for the rest of my life. You could be telling the other giants. No, I couldn't, Sophie said. You told me they would eat me up at the moment they saw me.